Question number 12, Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by his statement that, quote, "We were never going to use legislation because we knew right from the get-go that people wouldn't vote for that"?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, yes, in the context I made it in relation to the question I was asked.
Always.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
If, as he says, he knew from the get-go that he wasn't going to use legislation, why did his government's discussion document include 3 options to do just that?
Yes.
Yeah, because if the members saw all the statements I made, that was in relation to a period post that point. What is true is that the RSPs wrote to the government. The RSPs wrote to the government and suggested a recommended price, along with potentially seeking agreement from Chorus. That would have required legislation, but what became apparent because the parties couldn't reach an agreement was that from that point on there was never any chance of legislation.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
How can he credibly deny he wasn't intending to overrule the Commerce Commission when the Chorus CEO Mark Ratcliffe has publicly said, quote, "Legislation appeared to be an option until last Thursday"?
Yes.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, it potentially was an option when they wrote at the time, but not Chorus because they wouldn't agree with it. But from that point on, it became pretty obvious that legislation wasn't possible because what was clear was that other political parties wouldn't support that.
Okay.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
How can he say that, quote, "no one anticipated the magnitude of the fall," end quote, in the wholesale copper price when at the time of the Chorus demerger, Goldman Sachs forecast a price of $8.47 a month, which is lower than the ultimate Commerce Commission price of $10.92.
Right Honourable Prime
Well,
Minister.
Mr Speaker, it's relatively easy. I relied on 2 experts in this area. The first person said the people of New Zealand who are receiving broadband services now will find that their existing copper services will actually go up in price when they're waiting for fibre. That was made in 2011 by Clare Curran. And then I relied on another muppet who said the average New Zealander will pay at least $5 more a month for the same service they're currently getting on their copper phone line. That was made by that muppet in 2011 called David Cunliffe.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question.
Can't he see...
Order. Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can't he see that it is his government's inept handling of this issue which has created a false expectations for Chorus of an inappropriate overrule of the Commerce Commission, and that this and his comments that Chorus would go broke are responsible for the current uncertainty around Chorus and the rollout of the UFB?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, a few things. Firstly, the members deliberately misleading the House. I said they could go broke.
Order. The Prime Minister can't accuse a member of deliberately misleading the House. He can start his answer again.
Okay, Mr Speaker, the member has misled the House because the statement was could go broke, and actually that is reflected if you look at the share price reduction, how severe analysts believe the situation is. Secondly, everybody thought at the time that the price would either stay the same or go up, including the member. But let me say this, Mr Speaker. The government is A, committed to ultra-fast broadband. B, the government is committed to finding a way through this current situation. C, the government's view is that Chorus needs to play its part, but the government is likely, if there is a substantial hole, as referenced by the information the government may or may not receive from its independent inquiry, to then go and look through or speak to Crown Fibre Holdings to ask them to look at what the options that might be available. That could include moving some of the money around in the existing contract, all of which may be possible to ensure that ultra-fast broadband is built on time for New Zealanders.
Point of order, Clare Curran.
I seek leave to table the tape of the Prime Minister saying that Chorus could go broke, which appeared on television New Zealand.
But there's a transcript that's well available to members if
No,
they want.
it's not. It's a
Is
tape.
it on the order?
Speaking to the point of order.
I'll allow the Prime Minister to speak to the point of order.
The member needs to go and look at her own Hansard. She said, I said it would go.
Order, that's not speaking to the point of order. Leave has been sought to table this particular tape. I'm going to put the leave and the House can decide. Leave is sought to table it. Is there any objection? Can be tabled.
Point of order.
Point of order, Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I seek leave to table a report by Goldman Sachs dated 28 November 2011 titled Telecom Corporation of New Zealand Limited Life
Order.
After
Leave is sought
Chorus.
to table this particular report by Goldman Sachs. Is there any objection? There is none. It can be tabled. Point of order, the Honourable David Parker.
Mr Speaker, earlier today you were invited by the Prime Minister to consider whether the Leader of the Opposition had misled the House in respect of forestry statistics. Given that the Prime Minister has said that there were no reports of impending decrease in the copper price, the Goldman Sachs report should be viewed by you also when assessing that earlier point of order, because the same issue arises.
I thank the member for his very valuable advice. As I've said, I will give further consideration to the point raised by the Honourable David Cunliffe. That concludes questions for oral answer. A point of order, the Honourable Jerry Brown.
Mr Speaker, I've waited till the end of question time. But, sir, if you just have a look at question 12, where the quotation marks say we